Rainey Riding is a professional tyer, co-owner of a fly shop, and innovator of products that have revolutionized the fly tying industry. She's been tying flies commercially since 1973. Rainey started tying flies quite by accident. In 1971, while she was working as a secretarial assistant for Utah State University Extension Services, a fly tying class was being offered through the program. Too many students had enrolled in the class for one person to teach, so the tying instructor asked Rainey to either reschedule the class or learn 2 fly patterns and teach part of that group herself. So 45 minutes before the class was to begin, Rainey was taught how to tie an ant and a woolly worm. An addiction was born. Rainey continued to learn 2 new patterns each week and teach the other half of that class. Rainey immediately became very skilled and has been tying professionally and teaching fly tying classes ever since. Though Rainey is an accomplished musician and mother of 4, next to her family, her second love is fishing. Over the years, Rainey's passion for excellence and speed motivated her to invent new tools, materials, and techniques to make fly tying easier, faster, and of higher quality. So you're in for a real treat. At the end of this video, you'll see many of the materials and tools that are offered through Rainey's Flies and Supplies.
In this video presentation, I'm going to show you technique of a little more advanced level. We're going to demonstrate a bullet head hopper. We're going to show you an easy leg tool and make hopper legs with that tool. I'll also show you my method for doing a trimmed deer hair head hopper. We'll also cover a method that we refer to as the hot dog bun style for applying the foam. We will first of all show you a picture of the fly, and then I will demonstrate it, and then a pattern recipe will follow. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll first of all start off with a bullet head pattern, and as part of that pattern I'll introduce you to a new foam application which we call the hot dog bun style. We'll tie on, and as I do so I want to just talk to you about the amount of thread that should come out of the end of your bobbin. I have literally just about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. You do not need a lot of thread. We call this, or I refer to this in my tying, this is called aerobic tying. Look how much energy that takes. And a lot of times as beginners we fall into that rut, but we just don't need to. You don't need any more coming out of your bobbin than you have distance to cover and go around as far as your materials. So keep that in mind, and that will speed up your tying, especially those of you who aspire to be commercial tyers. That's just a good thing to keep in your memory bank. All right, hot dog bun style. Well, let's start off with the tail first. Let's do that. And then we'll demonstrate that as we get to it. This is just a hackle that we have dyed red, and I'm going to ask you to do what we call a comb back. You're just going to pull all that material back, like so. And then in your thumb and first finger of your right hand, you're going to take as much of that material as you can hold. Squeeze it tight between your fingertips, and then just pull it off. Now, this material cannot be stacked in a hair stacker. So I want you to kiss your 2 fingertips together, and I want you to rock with your right hand going up into your left hand like so, and just rock those tips in together. Loosen them up a little bit and tap the butt ends. Let me bring that in together and just tap the butt ends. And if it is not too webby, those should line up fairly evenly and not too bad. Pretty even. Moisten the finger just a little bit and lay that over the back. Now, I don't want you to stick this out. The regular theory would be for a tail would be 3/4 to 1 full length of the shank. We don't want you to do that. This is just going to stick out for a little bit of a, well, I call it a butt nub. It's more of an attraction part of the fly. So hold that right there at the bend, trade hands, kiss your fingertips together, and then come up, and I want you to do a finger loop because we need that material to stay directly on top. Bring it around and pull down. Take it up between the thumb and first finger, bring it around and pull down. Do that about 3 times and you've got it. Then back wrap over the top of that to secure it. And everything's staying right on the top. No barbules are coming off or off the bottom or out the side. A hackle. We're going to use a Hoffman saddle hackle. You're going to strip the vane. We need a little bit of distance there because we're going to have the foam to go around, and the rule is you should strip the vane so that you have enough vane left to cover 1/2 the distance of what you have to go around. All right, lay that right on and tie that around. And we have a little bit of the naked vane, which you need to be aware of because we'll need that to go around the foam. Now we're ready to show you how to do a hot dog bun style application of the foam. We've got a 3X hook in, and I'm using a medium foam. If you're going to use a size 10 or a size 12, you would want to use the small foam. An 8 or a 6, you would want to use the medium, as you see here. And for a number 4 or a number 2, you would want to use the large foam. Let's just cut a piece of this off. Taking your scissors, we'll trade to our fly tying scissors. I want you just to make an angular snip like that, reverse it, turn it around, and do it in the same direction so that it looks like that. You have this angle and this angle are the same coming off of each side. Now, this is going to stick out over the bend of the hook, and this area is the area that's going to tie down. So you want to make sure you've left enough area. 1/3 is what you need of that hook shank to be able to end your fly. And I think if we hold that there, we probably are in pretty good proportion. Laying this on the table, we're going to cut into the foam, but not through the foam. And you're going to cut from, let me show you, grab a pointer here. We're going to start the incision, hold that, at this point and take it clear through and end there. Do not bring your incision clear up into this cut. Remember, that's the tail that's sticking out over the back of the fly. The incision starts here and ends here. We'll lay this down on a flat surface and using a single edge sharp razor blade, I'm going to cut into the foam, but again, not through the foam. And if I were to hold this up to the side, it would open up, just like I said, into a hot dog bun style. I can get a better view of that. There we go. With the super glue, we're going to coat the thread wraps that you've put there, and we need a tiny little bit, not a lot. Whoa, too much came out that time. We'll wipe some of that off. Right, opening this up. Like so. You're just going to lay that over and rotate it over like that. That way you won't get any on your fingers. Tie this pointed end down. Leave that last 1/3. And then you need to back wrap over the foam for just a few seconds while we get the glue to stick. And you don't leave the thread there, but we're just going to leave it for a few minutes, or a few seconds rather. If you have any excess coming out, now's a good time to remove it so you don't have any problems getting it all over yourself. Wipe off the extra. And then we should be able to back wrap and unwrap that. Wipe off your super glue off your thread. Keep your fingers in motion so that you don't stick to yourself, so you can suck that back up in without it affecting the tube of your bobbin. We rotate that just like a surgical procedure. That seam has come back together. To rib the fly, here we go, the brown Hoffman saddle. Now I want you to grab the tail of this and I want you to pull it towards yourself as I wrap away from myself with the brown hackle. If you do not do that, the foam will go around the body and you'll be having the tip end of this falling off over and to the side. Now again, it is a closed cell foam. If you come into this with your ribbing and compress it too firmly, you lose your air cell structure and your floatability. So you need to be able to have it's a fine line as to how much you squeeze that hackle down into it and yet keep it steady and firm so that it will not slide off. Trim your excess. We're going to put a little bit of a whip finish here. remove the fly, and we're going to give it just a real quick haircut. If you'd used a short enough hackle, you wouldn't need to do this, but I like it trimmed a little short. If you don't worry about it. Quick haircut. Put it back in the vise. If you're going to tie a few of these, you'd be better off probably while the hackle was long and the glue was curing to just set them off the side, do a couple of dozen, then come back in and trim. An underwing, we will add crystal flash. Let me just show you what this looks like. I've cut this off of the shank that this was on, or rather it's a hank, excuse me, and I put just cellophane tape around one end of it, and then I will work from this end, going back towards the tape, and then I don't have any waste, and you'll be a lot happier if you do that, and it's certainly not quite as expensive. You'll get a lot more flies for your usage. We'll lay this over the back. I want you just to notice what I do. I'm just letting the thread work naturally. I just make a really loose loop, and then I just snug it down so that it doesn't roll to the side. If you take material and you go like this and try to catch it in a side motion, you'll roll to the side every time. So you can either go up and make your finger loop like that and come down, or just wrap a loose loop around it and then snug it down just before it has time to rethink of the position that it thinks it ought to be in. Alrighty. We'll add an overwing of squirrel tail, which we already have prepared and stacked. I want you to lay this right over the back, make it even with your crystal flash underwing, trade hands, just put it in the other hand like that, and then tie it down. Now, for other videos that you've seen in the series that we've done in our extraterrestrial series, we demonstrated cutting at a 45-degree angle prior to tying it on. I find that quite difficult to do with the squirrel tail and calf tail. So on those two products, I always put it on like this, and then I bring my scissors in and I trim it at a 45-degree angle so that I have a nice gradual slope down to the eye. It's a little easier to work with. It's just so fine. It's just a lot easier if you'll do that. Now we're going to make a bullet head, so I need a nice gradual slope, so I need to just kind of tie that down just a little bit to get rid of any lumps or bumps that I might have. See how the thread is coming off of that? That's what we want it to do, so we get a nice gradual slope. And now we're ready to add and do the bullet head. We first of all need to have some straws. I find that have just become much more successful. As a commercial tyer, I was so frustrated, so very frustrated with being able to turn out a product. Number one, we needed to worry about speed. My tyers, I have first and foremost want them to make money, but it just became a real challenge as to what to come up with so that we could increase our speed and productivity. And the straw method works very, very well. So we'll show you how I do that and see if it doesn't help you a little bit and teaching you maybe some different technique. I've been demonstrating this method for quite some time for conclaves and various programs that I've done, so make sure that's going to fit over there. That's what we want. All right, we have already pre-stacked some deer hair, and on a bullet head, the hair tips are going to be tied so that they're pointing out in this direction. Whenever we remove hair from a hair stacker, you will be better off to remove the tip ends in the direction in which they're going to be tied on. So, because the tip ends will be in this direction, I will take the hair stacker and make sure that we remove them in that direction. Already stacked and ready to go. When I work with deer hair, I prefer working with moist fingers. That helps reduce the static electricity. All right. Set that on, and I lay those tip ends so the tip ends are coming and they hit the eye of the hook, and I take that measurement by touching my first finger to the eye of the hook, and so that I can feel the tips of the hair. This area right here, my thumbnail, should be sitting no more than 3/4, 1/2 to 3/4 the distance of the shank coming from the eye back to the bend. If I do that, then when I form the bullet head, and the leftover part from the bullet head is called the collar, We do not want that collar to exceed 1/2 to 3/4 that distance. So that's the way it should fall. If you will mark that at 3/4 when you're in this position, when you go to tie this down, it will suck back a little bit, and you'll get a nice 1/2 and 3/4 dimension in there, and you'll be right in line. All right, we've got our measurement. I'm happy with it. I'm going to take this now, and I'm going to trim the hair totally flat to my fingertips, like that. Do that over here in my lap so that we're not in anybody's hair's not going where we don't want it. And it will lie just like that. Now, we're going to tie this on, and most of you will be sitting out there and saying that's impossible to tie that on. And maybe it is, but we're going to give it a good college try. I've done a few of these, so we hope we'll make it work. Let a little bit of thread out. I've got a little too much there. Hold that totally horizontal to the shank of your hook. Take your thread, drag it across the flesh of your first finger, and rock your hand up and let it fall. Now that thread barely rests against the tip of that hair, right on the tips. Bring it around the second time and pull a little tighter down into the hair. A third time a little tighter, and my thumb is actually causing the pressure so that the pressure is literally in this 1/4 of an inch and not coming from the end of the bobbin tube. This is where you'll have breakage. You must minimize the stretch factor, and that's why I put my thumb there and just tuck it in with my thumb. This has been a really wonderful technique for me to learn. However, I still break thread, and you will still break thread. Now that we've got that secure, and I feel fairly confident that that is on, I'm just going to pull the thread up here a little bit more and then let it pull the hair, and then I'll just grab it, finish grabbing the tip ends. And the nice thing about this is we have no loose ends in here that we have to come back in and clip and trim. That's a nice way of doing the bullet head, and it certainly saved me a lot of time. Moisten your fingers. Look at all this memory that hair has. That's going to be a challenge. We've got the idea is to get this comb back now. So by moistening your fingers, let's first of all talk about the fact that we've moved the thread back to the area in which the bullet head will be tied and cinched down. Retrain the hair. Get it rethinking in another direction, like so. Moisten your fingers. When you get it where you want it, slide your straw over, which we've already trimmed. Let's see, I may have not got a big enough one, and I didn't. Let's grab a little bigger dimension. That will always be a variable that you have to deal with, because you never can count your hair that you put on. You just have to do it by feel and touch. There we go, much better. Put that on. Take off and wrap just a nice little head right there. We're going to add a rubber leg on each side. 1, 2 wraps. You don't need to do a lot of aerobic tying there. We'll come in and we're going to treat this head with a liquid super glue. And I'll show you how we do that in just a second. So you don't need a lot of thread wraps there, because we'll actually hit the thread wraps. Pull this off carefully, though, because if you get too aggressive with it, you'll just pull all the hair back off. Do a hand whip finish, or use your whip finisher. Again, we're going to use the liquid super glue injected into a needle to finish off the head. Trim your excess. Fix your legs. And we have just finished, well, we have almost finished, a bullet head hopper. Look how nice the head looks, how uniform that looks, and the straw method is the way to do it. Now to finish the fly, we'll pretend that in this syringe, which we have broken the tip off, that we have sucked down into it liquid super glue. And we hold this by holding the barb, or at the bend of the hook at the barb, and you just simply let a little bead of the glue come out on the tip end of that, and rub it here, and here. You don't stick it down into it, but just coat the outside of it. Put just a little dab right there on your knot that you tied, hang it up to dry. Now, the super glue oftentimes will have a reaction to the dye process, and a little puff of smoke will come off of that, and it can burn and sting the eyes, so you want to be real careful that if that happens, that you quickly set it off and out of the way so that you don't, well, it will really smart your eye. So once you do it once, you will never do it again. You'll watch for it. Let me show you some other bullet heads. Bullet heads tying just the same way by changing the color of the foam. We've done a stonefly. We've tied with the orange foam here. There's the bullet head hopper that we just completed. We've used white foam on this fly. You can use black and do a black combination and make a cricket pattern. So the hot dog bun style offers many chances and choices for different flies. Okay, that completes the bullet head segment. We're going to next demonstrate, we're going on to trim deer hair head hoppers. Before we demonstrate the trim deer hair head hopper, I want to show you how to do knotted legs using our Easy Leg tool. You'll see holding in my hand here a turkey round wing that I have hit in a light yellow RIT dye bath, and I've just prepared it by trimming it off a little bit and removing all of the junky part of it. And then I want you to take a pair of pliers and just smash that flat. It needs to be flat enough so that you can stick it into the jaws of your vise, like so. Easy Leg tools. Easy Leg tools come in a medium and a small size. If you're going to tie hoppers that are of a size 12 to a size 8, then you'd want to use the small. If you're going to do 8 or even 6s or larger, then you'll want to use the medium. Also, if you're wanting to tie knots in rubber legs, then you'd also want to use the medium. We're going to go ahead and start with the small, and I'm going to do this very quickly first so that you can see how fast and efficient this can be. Pull that out, and the leg is done. Let's pull that off. Now I'll do it real slow. At this point you're going to be able to rewind your video over and over and over again and see what we've actually done. Taking off about between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch of material, holding the tip ends in your left thumb and first finger. Leave your latch opened like that. Make sure that latch is opened. Come over the top of your first finger of your left hand and encircle this material around the metal shaft of your tool. Drag it down. Leave the latch against your thumbnail to keep it opened, and catch in that hook area the material you're holding in your thumb and first finger. Let the latch close and pull it through like that. And the leg is done. And we're ready to start the technique for the trim deer hair head hopper. We'll set that aside. We've already tied up or pre-tied up a body. And I'll just refer you back to the first segment of this video where we talked about doing the hot dog bun style method. And we'll just go ahead and get started. Wrap this back. We've put an underwing and an overwing just exactly the same. We're ready to add the knotted hopper legs. Take the joint of your hopper leg and add it, or lay it right against 3/4 the distance of the shank, and that's the area we want to tie it on. Now, to determine a left or right wing, we can make a little tuck in the actual material of the knotted leg material to make it go out or in. This laid perfectly fine, so we're going to leave it that way. Let's add another leg to the other side. And I can see by laying this on, see how that leg's going to stand out there? We're going to just need to manipulate this just a little bit and make a tuck going in this side. Let the thread catch it, and then our legs will be going into the body just the way we want them. Right? Trim your excess. Tuck them down. Collaring is next. Using white-tailed deer, which is just something that I absolutely prefer. The texture of it is perfect to work for spinning as well as doing bullet head patterns. Moisten your fingers. Get a little bit of moisture in that to reduce your static. Clean out your underfur, and you're ready to stack it. Now we're going to add a collar, which means, similar to what we did on the bullet head, that we need to have the collar go up 1/2 to 3/4 the distance of the shank coming back this direction. We take and remove the hair with the tips coming out in the direction we want to apply them. Get rid of any of the excess material that's hanging as baggage. Take it in your thumb and first finger of your right hand and lay it along the side and take your measurement, and then I want you just to take your thumb and first finger of your left hand and just cup that like so. Now that's going to spread out considerably, fan out, which is just what we want. Take your thread loosely around like that, one wrap, and then bring it around your second time, and then squeeze into it and watch it fan out. Your collar then is complete on the side that's opposite from you. Now we're going to mirror the same thing on the side closest to you, doing the same thing, moistening the fingers, getting rid of all the underfur, rake it out, and stack it. Remove the hair in the same direction that you want to apply it. All your extra, and you are going to mirror the very same thing that you did, holding it in your right hand, placing it into your left thumb and first finger, pressing it against the shank of the hook. You're going to put that thread in the very same area that you did the collar on the opposite side. And about 3 wraps would be all that you need. Now, this hair needs to be retrained. By moistening your fingers, you can get that hair to stand vertical to the hook and get it out of your way, which is just exactly where we need the hair to complete your spinning. Right now, where we have a lot of material, sometimes it's very difficult to get a complete spin around the hook area. And because I have so much, I'm going to just repeat the collar again on this side and this side, leaving the last little area. Even though I've got thread wraps there, it's still small enough that I'll be able to get one complete rotation of the hair. So we're going to do another collar this side and this side. And we'll just quickly put that together. We've got all the steps down. Clean the hair, moisten the hair, reduce all the extra baggage you've got, stack the hair, and we'll quickly do that. And a collar on the other side. Pull your hair back out of your way. 1 rotation, 2 rotations, and suck down like so. Then you've got the little bald area right there. You're just going to come in and do the very same thing. We're not needing to be so careful about keeping that on each side. You can go ahead and let that spin a little bit. That would be just fine. Clean your hair. And I actually didn't need to stack that hair. I'm sorry. We don't need to stack it. We're not worrying about the collar. Lay this over the back. 1 wrap, 2 wraps. Let it go. Tighten down. See how that just flared right out, which is just what we want it to do. Retrain the hair. Get it going the other direction. It needs to stand vertical to the hook. Pack your hair. And then we have just that last little area right there left, and we can put 1 more rotation of hair, and then we'll be ready to trim. I don't need to stack it. I'll remind myself I don't need to stack it. Clean out the underfur, moisten it a little bit. I already moistened my fingers. This lays right now on the head area. You're going to go once around, bring it around twice the second time, and as I do so, I'm going to let go of the hair and let it rotate and spin. It actually just flared out there. We didn't go too far with it. Wrap through it a little bit. Pack your hair. Take your 2 fingers, your fingertips together very firmly. I'm pushing in that just about as hard as I can push. whip finish that, and we'll be ready to trim. Actually, I'm kind of at a disadvantage here because I cannot see the eye of that. We'll be real honest here, cameras. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that in. Let's see if I can do a hand whip finish here. Maybe not. Get one started, maybe. I really can't see that, so we'll apologize. I'm sure that does not look good. But I am literally at a side angle. Can't see it. Remove it now. And we need to take your regular, if you've got deer trimming scissors, this would be a good time. Start on the bottom. The hook is up. You're holding it. And trim flat. Now this is going to make a mess, but just hang in there. We'll get it figured out. Trim it flat to the bottom so you can see where you're at. Rotate it. Then I go to a curved pair of scissors. I've got a razor blade here we're going to need here in just a second. And I'm not going to trim this whole fly, but I'm just going to basically show you. I'm tipping this down in at an angle towards where the collar is, like so. Find your collar. Remember it's in there. Take your scissors. Just separate that out. Get it started like that, and then we can sit and trim. That's not necessary. We'll just put a finished fly up here so that you can see what it should look like if you were to completely trim. This is the style that we were just doing, the same hook size. Notice though on this one we have used white foam. We've used the yellow foam just as we had on, but look at the nice head. Square at the back, straight up. We can tie great big down to a little teeny, and if you want, we can do a cricket pattern. So by changing the color of foam, the type of materials, whether you're using red squirrel tail, dark crystal flash, clear crystal, pearlescent crystal flash, you can create a whole assortment of different patterns. I'll tell you what, I can hardly wait until it gets August and September when I can go hit the hopper season. It's one of the funnest times when those big lunkers come out off of these fabulous rivers and just gobble that fly as though they had nothing they had eaten all day long. So I'll look for you out on the stream. Let's have a good time. The South Fork secret, next in line to tie, is a non-foam fly. This fly is absolutely a fly that you definitely want to tie and have on the end of your fly line when the adult stone comes off. Let's start. Actually, we've got a hook already in, and we're going to use orange thread to get started on this. We're going to put a little butt-nub tail. And this would be, I'm actually using elk hawk. Very, very fine. Take your thread and back wrap just a little bit. We need to secure that. I just want a little nub coming off and off or from around the bend. Trade hands, and then I want you to do some very firm suck down wraps here at the end. When we work with deer hair or moose or elk, remember that we have a flaring problem that happens. So my securing wraps will be taken care of back in this area, and then I will wrap loosely to the bend of the hook to keep it from flaring. And then we'll come back there and snub it down. But look how nice and straight that is. Absolutely perfect, just exactly where we want it to be. All right, a ribbing. This will have a rib on it. And I am using a furnace Hoffman saddle. We'll tie that on. Leave that right there hanging off. Just tuck it away there. Another part of the rib I am using, I've just taken 4-strand yarn. I'm just going to pull one strand out of that. We'll tie that on in the same area. This fly has a dubbed body, and because of that, that space that's right here to here would be an immense amount to have to dub. We will then put on a product that we call underbody foam. This is a very soft, open cell and has a lot of stretch factor to it, which makes it really nice and easy to use and form and shape bodies. Take your thread back to 2/3 down the shank and tie on your underbody foam. Wrap back to the bend, then back again, over with the left, secure right, and we'll just use this. We'll stack pack it on top of itself and shape a nice, slight, tapered body. Stack that on top of itself. That's about where we want to end it. Bring it into the right hand, tie off, and we are done. Just pull that off. Usually you can just pull that off. You can cut it if you want, but pulling would be fine. Take your thread lightly back down to the bend, and we're ready to dub. The dubbing that we will use would be the Dark Hare's Ear Rainy Sparkle Dub. Have a high amount of sparkle in that. I'm just going to start this. We'll just get you started on this. You don't need to sit and watch me dub an entire body, but we'll just put a single line dubbing thread on there. Pack it down as tight as you can. Use quite a generous amount. You don't need to be too careful about that. All right, let me just wrap back here. You understand what we're going to do. We're going to dub that entire area. Now I'm going to put a fly that we've completely finished the dubbing process so that we don't need to take a lot of wasted video time watching me do that in there. Let's make sure we have everything still in focus. Didn't disturb anything. All righty, our yarn. Let me trim some. We're going to twist this and give us a twisted rope method. Just hold that in the end of, I'm just using my easy gripper like this. I'm going to hold this out away from me, and I'm just going to give it some quick twists and tighten that up so that it's very rope-like. And you'll get a nice body segmentation in that. If you do it too tight, it'll start to curl on you like that. Can we get a picture of that on the back camera? Okay, once it starts doing that, then you're fairly confident that it's where you want it to be. Just wrap that around. You know what I didn't do, though? I didn't tie back on, so this is going to be fun. We'll get this down here. Get our thread back on. Trim off the excess. Bring this around one more time, and then tie it off. Trim. Run your hackle right alongside of the orange ribbing. I'm just going to the right side of it. That's your choice, whichever you want. Tie it off. And we put an overwing of black crystal flash, which we already have our strands prepared. The tape is on. We've talked about that earlier. Lay that over the back, secure it down right onto the back, and back wrap over your dubbing just a little bit. All right, take it to the end of your butt nub tail and let it go, snip it. Overwing would be natural dark elk hair. Take your measurement, lay this over with your right hand over the back. Take your measurement the very same length that you have your black crystal flash. Trade hands with it, and then you're going to trim it at that 45-degree angle to come back and tie that on. All right, I'll move it down here so I don't make a mess. See the nice slope, nice 45. Take your thread now back down towards the eye. Whoops, I started grabbing that hair too soon. I didn't want to do that. I need to get my thread down in position. All right, over the back. And I've got 6/0 thread in here. I didn't realize that. So anyway, we'll need to be a little careful so I don't break the thread. Don't know if I can compress that really good. we'll try that. Right, let's see, we need to tie back on with another little piece of yarn. Tie that on. Let it hang, and then we'll need to come back, and I'm just using out of the back of a furnace neck. I've just got some of the big stuff out of the back. I am using Hoffman. Trim that off. We'll want about 5 or 6. Strip off the vein and tie in the vein. Just put a couple of loops around that to get it secure. Get a couple more. Like that. Tie those on. And then we need 1 rubber leg on each side. We've got a lot of stuff to put on here. It gets kind of buggy. Yeah. A rubber leg on each side, just a couple, 2 or 3 wraps. Now wrap your thread back to the head area and let it lay. Wrap your yarn through and around your rubber legs. Let's get it through right behind, right in between. Let's see. This crazy angle I'm at. We love it. Pull your legs back out of the way. Now I know you're seeing that better than I am. We're gonna feel fairly certain that you are. Snip. Hackle pliers. We're using our Easy Gripper. And those of you who feel comfortable, go ahead and do 2 at a time if you want. I really choose not to do that. I like to be able to, I don't feel like I have quite as much control. Get that down in the area and tie it off. A couple of wraps, take another one. Just put 1 in there. Once you get multiple hackle on here, you kind of have to do a zigzag wrap to get everything in there. All right, tie that off, just a couple again. Oops, we lost that one. Let's do it again. Now we're at a point where, so we don't crush the hackle, you've got to get this zigzag in motion. Clean that out, I've got stuff in it. Hold a leg back, zig and zag it. No, let's see, let's tie that off. 1 or 2, our last one. Get it started. 1 again right in the middle, and then we need to spin the rest, put the rest of this right in front of those legs. All right, vertical to the hook. I want you to watch what I do with my 4th finger. This is a technique that I use that I used to get hair and stuff back into my eye, and I have found that by dragging my thread against the flesh of my finger, I'm a lot less likely to have that happen. So just catch that against the flesh of your finger, and that will help minimize that. All right, lift up what you have left, trim it. Do a comb back of your material, moisten your fingers if you want. Wrap a nice head. And we will whip finish. Grab a whip finisher. And we are almost done. Remove it from your vise. Now we're just going to, let's first of all fix our legs. This is trimmed in a square trim, like that, and then do the bottom. And let me just reach for a finished fly. But you'll understand, then you come in here on the side like this, and like this, but work with it a little bit until you've got a nice trim. Let's put one up here that's completely finished and let you look and see how nice. There's one all trim. Let me turn it kind of sideways like this so you can see the square cut trim. 3 different size bugs in there. South Fork secret. Now, when those giant stones come off, if you're headed for the South Fork of the Snake, this is a fly that you do not want to be without. You'll find that it fishes very successfully, and you're going to definitely bring up those big ones clear from the bottom, and they're going to hit it smacking hard, ready to take it back down with them. The next fly that we're going to demonstrate is a Bead-Back Scud. It, like the South Fork Secret, is a non-foam fly. If you're going to fish in areas that would be populated in heavy crustaceans or freshwater shrimp, this would be a great fly to learn to tie and go and fish. We're going to tie it with glass beads, and the glass beads give it a nice, beautiful sheen to the body of it, which makes it more of an attractor pattern for the fish. Let's get started, and we'll show you first of all how we're going to put the beads on the hook. We're just using a regular scud hook. Just moisten your finger. I've got some beads laid out here onto the table, and we'll pull them up here into the view of the camera, and we need to just put them on just like this. Just thread them over your finger. If they drop, if you're going to do this, a good method or a suggestion might be to put a dish underneath you. Let's get rid of that one. That's not a good bead. And we need, see how many have I got on there? 1, 2, 3, we need 6 beads. I'm using a size 12 hook. Whoops, we lost that one. Let's do it again. One more bead. We're going to, well, I'll lose it again. And we've got it. If you were going to do a few of these, I would suggest that you take your foam, a foam block, and you're holding them in your easy gripper like this, and then you just put them into your foam block like that and make your, however many, if you were going to do a dozen or 6, whatever, and just put them in there, and then you won't, it'll just be a little faster in your production time. We'll pretend that we've got 12 bodies sitting there, and we're going to place this into the jaws of the vise. I'm using a midge head. It makes it a little more accessible to get into the bottom of the bottom of the fly, which is how we're going to finish this fly. Let's make sure that's sitting properly. All right. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to be tying and using black thread. It'll just be a lot easier for you to see what I'm trying to do here. Normally we would match the color of thread with the color of bead. We're going to make a little thread button right at the bend so that the first bead cannot slide down and off the shank of the hook. For this fly, fingernails are a must. Oh, we went too far. That means I've just got to have a little more. Build that up just a little bit more. Try it one more time. That's good. That's what we want. Turn your vise head, rotate it, and then we need to reposition this fly so that you'll be able to see it a little better. Let me just turn this just a little bit, and I'll do a quick camera check to make sure that we're in the camera screen, and that looks like we're at a good view. All right, take your fingernail and snug that against the thread button that you've made, and then drag your thread over the bottom of the first bead with one rotation and let it sit there. Using Rainey's, this is, we'll again match the dubbing with the bead. This is our dark sulfur sparkle dub. And you're going to just pull a little bit of the fiber away from that, moisten your finger, and roll it between your thumb and first finger, forming a dreadlock. It will look something like that. Lay that over or in between your first 2 beads. You're going to go 1 wrap, and then hold your dreadlock the other way and go over the other way. You're just making a little crisscross in that. Bring it over, take your second bead, and as firmly as you can, snug that down against the second bead in the dubbing, one rotation around, moisten your finger, and another dreadlock, like that. Same process. Just get rid of some of that thread out of there. 1 and 2 over this direction. And 1 back through. Snug your third bead as firmly as you can over the back. 1 rotation. Still make sure we can see that. Maybe let me just tip that just a little bit better. Another dreadlock. And 1. It's the hardest thing, is just creating and letting that balance there. Actually giving it about a wrap and a half. Fourth bead down against, very firmly, 1 wrap around, more dubbing. You don't need a lot of dubbing. Our biggest problem with this fly will be getting too much material in the dreadlock, so just watch that. This is probably a little bit on the heavy side. I think it's going to be a little easier for you to see what I'm doing. And again, over the back, the 4th bead. Actually, I think we're on our 5th bead. I've lost track of where we're at. Snub that down really firm. Over the back. One more. One. And 2. And then over the back to the eye. That's where your head would be. Now I want to remove this and make sure that we can see just exactly, at least I'm going to try to see if you can see. Remove this so that, well, I don't think it's going to show up very good on those beads, but that you can literally see the thread right across the bottom of each bead. All right, place it back in your vise. Let's go ahead and wrap it, finish ahead. Finish it off. The eye is up, so the elbow on a Thompson must come down to remove your S hook. Down and release. Trim your excess. Turn the vise. Let's get it all straight back in, and we'll do a camera check. All right, it's going to look kind of funny like that. That's what it's looking like. Just turn that and pull all of your legs to the bottom. And just grab that with your fingernails and your first finger, and I'm just pushing that in so that all of that dubbing comes and will fall directly on the bottom side. See, we've totally getting rid of that broad wing. Now it's all hanging directly underneath. Rake it out. I'm just using a little metal comb. Let me show you what I've got here. Just a metal comb, or you can use your bodkin needle. Rake it all out. I like the way that looks. Let's remove it. And holding that in your left hand, take your scissors and lay it even at the barb of the hook, and then trim. And it will look like so. Let's put a finished fly in and rotate that, which will have the correct colors. We have on our board sampling of different colors and different sizes. We tie these on a scud hook up to a size 12 and go down, clear down to a size 18 or even a 20. We're using a midge bead on the little tiny one that you see over here on my far right. And then you other than your 18s and 20s, and then other than that you would just use your regular glass bead on those. We make them in light sulfur, we have them in gray, we have them in olive, we have them in the natural color. This is the dark olive that we just did, and this is also an olive in the small. All right, if you're going to fish an area now that has heavy incrustations, This is a pattern that you want to make sure you put in your fly box and put it on the end of your line and do some serious fun fishing with it. In this last and final segment of this video, we are going to deal with foam streamer patterns. The pattern techniques that we show you will be good for the application of saltwater flies as well as freshwater flies. We're going to go ahead and start this. You'll see I'm working some foam here. I'm using our Rainey's foam popper foam, and normally this would be a 3/8 inch round. To shape this foam, if you'll set something heavy on it just prior to actually tying it onto your hook, you'll get a little better application out of it. I'm just squishing this with my fingers. I did have this flat at one time, but in the course of from here to the... Anyway, I think we might be ready to go with that. Let's put a hook up into the vise, and I'm using a 4X long. You just decide what you want. You can use 3X, 4X, 5X, 6X, whatever you want. That would be just great. Put a thread base on here. And we'll trim that. To prepare the foam, let's find our pair of utility scissors here. You're going to cut at an angle like this, just at a good 45 this direction, and again at this direction. Take a minute and set that on the hook. Now this is going to tie on. If you're going to do it from the bottom side, it goes like this or like this. And because it'll be easier for you to see, I'm going to demonstrate it with it being up, and then we'll show you a pattern that's been completed with the foam in that direction. Now let's see. Let me get a better look at this. Let's just shorten that a little bit more. And you just take your scissors and you round this off. The body material on this particular pattern will be Mylar tubing. And right now in the industry, we have a lot to choose from. So just go to your local fly shop, grab that speaks to you, and go for it. I'm not going to continue trimming that, but you'll get the basic idea of what we're doing. I've trimmed this down until it looks like this. From this point, I'm going to lay this on a flat surface, and I'm going to make an incision into the foam, just barely into it, enough to cover the hook, and I'm going to go clear from point A to point B, all the way along. Laying that on the bottom, or on a flat surface, we'll just slice into that. Try to keep your line straight. Of course, I'm doing this at an angle here, see? I'm 10 feet away from this. Not really, but it feels like I am. Let's set this on. You've got a little opening. Just like that. You just need a little bit. Test it onto your hook to make sure it's where you need it to be. Let me move my thread out of the way. You may need to make that a little deeper. It's there. It's just being a little temperamental. All right, we've got it where we need it to be. Our super glue, a little bead, get it started here. Start it will get too much of coming, and then I'll be sorry. When you work with super glue, it's always good to have some acetone on hand, because that will help get rid of it. Well, at least if you get stuck to yourself, it will help immensely. The other thing, once the super glue dries, if you'll just take a regular emery board that you might file your fingernails with, and then it will just scrape and file right off, just the same way that you would do your fingers. Opening that little incision up, I'm just going to slide this over, rotate it quickly to the underside before that sticks too bad to me, which we already have super glue on me. And pinch this together. Turn that so you can see that seam. Then you just pinch this together. See all that spill out I'm getting? We'll wipe that off in just a minute. Remember, you cut off and deny the oxygen supply to that, and it will stick back together. It should stick back together. Let's just wipe this off. Might need to tuck some more of that down in to finish sealing that. That looks like where we want it to be. Wipe it off. Oh, there's a little place down here we missed. Get that wiped off. Okay, return that upright. And to finish shaping this, you're going to take this, and you're going to wrap lightly over the foam, and it will just continue to shape the body. Go back over very lightly. I'm pulling more thread because I don't want to suck down into the foam. The idea is to keep this foam floating. And that will look something like this. Now this is creating the round body. We would be putting, I'm just going to show you what we do, but we would be putting a wing on the underside of that so that the barb is covered. Because that is still wet, I'm going to trade out to a fly that has cured. At this point, you really would want to let that sit so you're not having to worry about the super glue getting all over you. Let's put another one up in to our vise. Let's do a check to make sure I haven't lost focus on that. That looks pretty good. Tie back on. And now for the Mylar tubing. There's probably many ways that you could put the tubing on, but I'll just show you a fun little trick. You can do it this way or do it your old traditional way, whatever you want to do, but let's show you something fun, something new. A pair of tweezers. This has a cotton core in it. And so you just need to pull all of that out, get rid of it, lay this over, and grab that with your thumb and first finger of your left hand. Take your thread and just suck that down. Oh, this is difficult at the angle I'm at. Back wrap this, cover up all that little bit of extra that you have there, and very lightly remove your thread, aerobically tying it, so I have enough thread to get it clear to the other end, and then you're going to moisten your fingers, and you're just going to pull this back over the top of the foam, just backing it up. Now let me see what you can see what I'm doing. This is just pulling back over the foam, like so. Do that again and again. Moisten your fingers a little bit more if you need to. And that body is completely done. Tie it off. Do a hand whip finish or some other way, whatever, but get that ended. The body is done. Now I'm going to put some flies up here that we have tied and show you a couple of things that we need to take a look at. Just place this down. Let's see which one to start with first. Let me just show you this one. I'm going to hold this in my hand. When we tied the material on here, you can see that I've left an area for something else to be tied on. If you're going to put an overwing of rabbit, or you want to put some hackling on, you need to leave a little bit. So start your tie back in area farther back onto the shank of your hook before you pull that back over the foam. Let me show you a fly. Let's do a, oh, here's a rabbit fly. Put this into the jaws of the vise. Let's moisten this wing out of the way. This would be the area, see, that we tied this back short of, right here, left enough area to add that head. All right, if you're going to do a little minnow body without any kind of hackling, let's put this in. We've actually tied this right at the head area. Let me get a side view of this so that we can see right here. See, that just looks just like that mouth has come right up onto the right onto the head or the eye area. That really looks really neat. This is our little rainbow trout. Let's put a little brown trout in that we've done. We've just added a little bit of a marabou tail on both of these. This is our little brown trout. Again, notice that this material started right here at the eye. No space. We don't have to worry about tie in or tie off. That's done. Alrighty, let's see. We've got different colorations here. Here's one with a black wing. Put that in. You can see that. A little bigger eyeball on this head area. All right, now this particular fly, let me put this in. Actually, I'll have to hold this. We'll go out of camera on it. The foam was tied upside down, similar to what we just finished. This would be if we were going to tie our hackling in right here, or our, let's just say our rabbit fur, and we were going to back wrap that over. We'd actually snag it into the barb there and then actually tie it down right there. And so the minnow part of the body would be coming underneath, and the rabbit fur would be covering up the barb of the hook. One more method. Let me show you how to do another foam method. This is an unfinished fly, but let me put this in the vise, and then I'm going to just briefly explain. Actually, my tail is in the way. I'll hold it. Let me have a back view of this. Get my tail back in here. You just make an opening in the back, and then I would actually glue that, but that's what that would look like. Now to tie this particular method on, this is nothing but the foam. We haven't put anything over. I've painted it with our Rainey's popper paint, and I will continue to finish this in different colorations, however you want to finish it. But to tie that on, what you need to do is you've just prepared the foam with a 45-degree angular cut. You've made an incision in the bottom of that, like that. Let's just tie a thread base. I'll just hurry and demonstrate this very quickly. A little bit of super glue. Don't use enough super glue. You'll all need to make that part of your fly tying tool purchase in the future. Right, open this up just like you did the hot dog bun style that we've talked about previously. Lay this over the back. Actually, let's get our thread back out of the way here. We don't need this thread. We're going to tip it upside down, get that worked up in, and stick that in like so. Take your bodkin needle, get rid of all of your excess. If you need to push some down in, stick that together. Clean off your excess. I'm not going to get that back together. Let's see if I can just get this like this for just a few minutes. This is a good way to cut off your oxygen supply if it's going to be temperamental with you. It's just to back wrap over it for a few seconds with your thread. Finish cleaning up the area. Clean off the bodkin needle while we're waiting. See if we can unwrap that and have that stick. Pretty much. Clean off your thread before you suck it up into the tube of your bobbin. Okay, turn that up right again. Whip finish and get rid of this. Then I'm going to use some heavy-duty thread. I've selected, for demonstration purposes, you can use what you need to, but for demonstration purposes, use a heavy-duty thread. I haven't got this threaded, so let me just show you. We can get a, this is our bobbin threader, and this just grabs the back of your finger and pulls the thread down through like that. You can do it even if you're having a visual problem. All right, here we go. We're going to just suck this down like this. Carefully, you don't want to suck clear down into the foam, but enough just to catch it. And then at an angle wrap, you're going to just wrap up the foam loosely and start squeezing it down as you get to the end. Wrap it around the side. Whoops, get it out of your, get other things tangled up into it. Whoops. You know, technical difficulties. It would be impossible if everything ran smooth. Wrap that around, and then I'm just going to wrap some hard wraps right here into this area. Same area. Okay. It'll look something like that. You'll get the basic idea. Put a couple of whip finishes in, trim this flat and short, and I'm going to remove this, and then we'll re-explain what I've done. All right, taking this fly back up, we've treated and we've painted this, and then I've taken my bodkin needle and I've just forced a little hole into this, prepared a tail, and that fly, other than I would super glue that up into there and finish painting it, is done. Now, floating streamers are a lot of fun, but the fishing technique, remember, they are floating, and you do have to get them down, so either using a sinking line or a sinking tip line, you still need to, about 5 to 10 inches up from the fly, put a fairly serious amount of weight to keep it down. And then you just do little quick strip-ins after you cast it and it's had its sink time to go down while you're finding the feeding lane of the fish, and then just do some quick little strip-ins. This is a fun, fun fly. Go try it, whether you're doing saltwater fishing or freshwater fishing. If you're in lakes or in some serious rivers, this would be a fly to give a try. This concludes our video presentation on blue ribbon fly patterns. I hope that the technique that has been presented to you will help aid you in your fly tying, as well as perk an interest for you to try other innovative products and new techniques. Happy fly tying!
Rainey's Flies and Supplies Incorporated are innovators of time-saving materials, tools, and techniques for the beginning to advanced fly tyer. Stay tuned for some of the products available through Rainey's catalog. Rainey's has 4 other fly tying videos besides this one. They are Tying Flies with Rainey's Float Foam. This is for the beginning to intermediate fly tyer, giving instructions on the use and applications of Rainey's Float Foam, demonstrating step-by-step instructions for tying Rainey's ants, beetles, cicadas, hoppers, crickets, and adult stones. Rainey's Extraterrestrials 101 includes beginning to intermediate fly tying instructions on tying foam terrestrials such as many different types of ants, a beetle, and a ladybug, along with time-saving techniques. Rainey's Extraterrestrials 102 includes intermediate to advanced fly tying instructions on tying foam terrestrials such as cicadas, hoppers, and a bumblebee. This is the sequel video to Rainey's Extraterrestrials 101. Rainey's Favorite Foam Flies shows intermediate to advanced fly tying instructions on tying unique foam patterns, such as Rainey's Foam Golden Stone, snail and damsel and dragonfly patterns, along with tying with soft foam poppers. Rainey's Float Foam is easy to use, extremely durable, and aids in flotation. Great for tying ants, beetles, hoppers, cicadas, crickets, and adult stoneflies. Tying instructions for 7 different flies are included. 2 feet per package, available in black, white, yellow, and orange in 4 different sizes. Rainey's Popper Foam is a closed-cell foam that is firm yet flexible. Great for all your salt and freshwater poppers. Colors easily with Rainey's Popper Paint or permanent markers. 5 to 6 per package, depending on size. Approximately 2 inches in length, available in black and white in 5 different sizes. Rainey's Bumblebee Foam Poppers make realistic-looking bees and wasps. Great for salt and freshwater poppers. The foam is firm yet shapes easily by using scissors. 6 per package, approximately 3/4 inch in length in 3 sizes. Rainey's Damsel and Dragonfly Foam Bodies are a closed-cell blue foam, also available in white for easy coloration. Tying instructions and illustrations are included. 4 to 6 per package, depending on size, and available in 4 different sizes. Rainey's High-Vis Ant Foam Bodies are easily tied yet highly effective. Available with bright orange or bright red side indicators. 10 per package, approximately 3/4 inch in length, available in 2 sizes. Rainey's Foam Parachute Posts. Use this instead of the usual methods for tying parachute posts. This is a closed-cell white foam that aids substantially in flotation. Try using when tying traditional dry fly patterns. Each package contains 10 posts, available in 3 sizes and a variety pack. Rainey's Cross-Link Sheet Foam is ideal for tying foam terrestrials, as well as using as a strike indicator. It's available in single color packs or 3 different rainbow packs in 9 different colors. Each sheet is 1/16 inch thick. Rainy's Evazote sheet foam is also ideal as a strike indicator. It's more close cell and dense than crosslink foam. It's available in single color packs or 3 different rainbow packs in 10 different colors and 3 different thicknesses. Rainy's underbody foam is an open cell, almost weightless foam used to shape fly bodies prior to adding other body materials. It's quick and easy to use with no waste and no mess. It's available in black and white. Rainy's No Dub. If dubbing small dry flies has been frustrating for you, Rainy's No Dub is the answer. No Dub is a 2-strand fuzzy thread. Leave the 2 strands together for larger flies and separate the 2 strands for sizes 16 and smaller. Approximately 3 yards per package, available in 21 different colors. Rainy's Tiny Nymph Mohair is another fantabulous baby fine no dub product. Made of 80% kid mohair and 20% nylon for strength. Recommended hook sizes are 16 to 8. Tie on like chenille and wrap the body. Works great in place of natural dub fur. Approximately 3 yards per package, available in 14 colors. Rainy's Razzle Dazzle Fly Body Wrap is a fabulous streamer and steelhead body material. 10 bright, brilliant colors from gold to royal blue. Pre-shape your bodies, tie on, and wrap as you would chenille. Approximately 2 yards per package. Rainy's Sparkle Dub is a beautiful blend of a spectrum of sparkling colors, perfect for matching the hatch. Use it for single line dubbing, small dries, or the buggy effect of loop dubbing for larger nymphs. Available in 42 colors. Rainy's Stretch Flex is used for nymph bodies, wings, casings, over wings, scud backs, and more. Available in 12 colors and 5 different sizes, approximately 3 yards per package. Rainy's round rubber legs make tying legs so much easier and faster. Great to use when tying bass bugs too. 12 colors in the medium size, white, black, and natural are available in a variety of other sizes, approximately 16 inches in length. Rainy's Bead Eyes on a Stick are threaded glass beads that allow you to make bug eyes easily without losing those little eyes. 4 sticks per package, yielding 24 pair, available in 2 sizes and 4 colors. Rainy's Bug Eye Sticks allow you to make realistic looking eyes. Also good for making bug antennas. All you need are tweezers and a small flame, available in 3 sizes and 2 colors. Rainy's Bug Eyes are ready to use iridescent bead eyes with purple, blue, and green hues. A must when tying damsel and dragonfly type patterns. Easy to tie on. 18 pair of eyes per package. Currently available in small and large. Rainy's water-based foam popper paint is available in natural and brilliant neon colors. Easy to work with and apply. It doesn't chip or get rock hard. Strongly recommended when tying with Rainy's foam poppers. Available in 11 colors and clear coat, which should be used before and after applying your colors. Rainy's Knotted Legs. If you're frustrated with tying knotted legs, then pre-knotted legs are the answer. If you'd like to learn how to make them yourself, check out Rainy's Easy Leg Tool. 9 pair of legs per package, available in dyed yellow, black, and natural pheasant wing. Rainy's Teardrop Wing Material is the most realistic wing material we've found. It's translucent with a mottled marking, ideal for mayfly wings, caddis tent wings, and stoneflies. 18 inches per package. Gel No-Run Superglue is an excellent all-around fly tying adhesive. Hardens in seconds. Does not run like most superglues. Needed when tying most foam patterns. This is a gel, not a head cement. Rainy's Dubbing Moistener. No more finger bowls. No more licking your fingers. It makes dubbing less messy by applying just the right amount of moisture to your fingers for dubbing and applying marabou and rabbit fur strips. A must for the commercial tyer. Rainy's Easy Leg Tool. Hopper legs made easy. This tool is designed specifically to tie knotted legs in hopper and cricket patterns. Illustrations and instructions included in each package. Also a half-hitch tool, available in small, medium, or large with a round brass or designer aluminum handle. Rainy's Easy Bobbin Threader is the most efficient bobbin threader available. No more crimped or bent wires. With proper care, it should last a lifetime. Available in a round brass or designer aluminum handle. Does not fit in small ceramic tubes. Rainy's Easy Gripper Hackle Pliers. Don't let looks deceive you. These are not ordinary electrical lead clips. This tool has been customized for the fly tyer and fisherman. The perfect tool to wrap hackle of all sizes, or for holding hooks while threading line. It can hold a single hackle fiber without slipping through. Wiss fine-tip scissors are the most convenient fly tying scissor on the market, lightweight enough that you can keep them in your hand when doing production tying. Ginger featherweight snippers have extra fine tips, easy to pick up and work with when tying onto tiny hooks and doing detailed work. Fiskars soft touch scissors are a great fly tying utility scissor with a soft handle. They're small and easy to use. Lock the blades together for easy storage. Rainey's custom-built rod is elegant and built with precision. These numbered and personally signatured rods include a sterling silver inlay in the reel seat with 5-color thread wraps. Built on an Avocado Diamondback Western Series blank or a Thomas & Thomas Horizon blank. Your choice. Allow 4 to 5 weeks delivery. Rainey's Versa Vest was personally designed by Rainey Riding. This vest can be worn as a full front and or back chest pack, or it easily converts to a fanny pack front and or back. With an extra strap, 2 people can wear it. Ideal for wading, tubing, or just hiking or biking around. It adjusts to any desired chest length. Drain system built into all zippered pockets. Well designed with quality craftsmanship. Fits medium to 3X adult. Available in 3 stonewash colors. For more information about Rainey products, call 1-435-753-6766. Once you've tried our products, you're hooked.